quite a few questions. So it says one side of a hexagon has a length of 8.75 centimeters. All the other sides of the hexagon are the same length as the other. The perimeter of the hexagon is 53 centimeters. What is the length in centimeters of each of the other sides of the hexagon? So I know that one side, it doesn't matter which side, but I'll pick this one, is 8.75 centimeters. And it says all of the other sides are the same as each other. Since we don't know what it is, I'll just choose the variable x. So that side is x, this side is x, 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 and x. And the perimeter is 53 centimeters. To find the perimeter, we just add up all the sides. So I'm going to count. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's. And I'll add my point 8.75. I need to subtract 8.75 from both sides. You cancel and I get 5x equals 53 minus 8.75 is 44.25. Divide both sides by 5. X equals 8.85. C. Number 9, Casey has $30 in savings and will save all the money she earns from tutoring. She earns $8 per hour from tutoring. Which equation, that's important, could be used to find the number of hours R? I know I would normally use H for hours or even X, but they want us to use R. Casey must save to tutor, to save exactly $100. So because it's an equation, I know I'm going to have an equal sign. As soon as I'm dealing with an equation, I like to figure out what my total is going to be. And I can either look down below and see it's always going to be 100, or I could just know eventually she needs $100. So naturally, it's going to make sense that her savings plus however much she earns is going to be what's in her bank account. So she has $30, and we're going to add how much she makes tutoring. And she makes $8 for every hour she tutors, so 8 times R. That matches perfectly with letter B. Number 10. At a baseball game, Bruce buys a soda for $3.25 and 5 bags of peanuts. He pays a total of $24.50. What is the price of each bag of peanuts? Again, I like to find my total, which I know is $24.50. At a baseball game, if I buy a soda and I buy peanuts, whatever that adds up to be, that'll be my total. So my soda, or Bruce's soda, is $3.25 plus however much I paid for peanuts. I don't know what I paid for peanuts, so I'll pay P for peanuts. And I bought 5 bags, so I did it 5 times. Here I'll need to solve for P, so I need to subtract $3.25 from both sides. These first two cancel, and I'm left with 5P equals $21.25. Divide each side by 5, and I will find out that I paid, or Bruce will pay, $4.25 per bag. Number 11. Pam buys 2 4/5 pounds of red grapes for $2.15 per pound. She buys 2 4/5 pounds of green grapes. It's important that they're exactly the same, and we'll come back to that in a second. For $1.99 a pound, which expression can be used to determine the total cost in dollars of the grapes Pam buys? This is very similar to number 4 that we did earlier, in that I'm going to take how much it weighed times the number, or the cost per pound. And I'm going to do it again for the green grapes. But as I look down here, I don't have 2 4/5. Well, remember, on the calculators here, we can type in, and I know there's a glare there, so I'm going to try to turn it so you can see without a glare, 2 4/5, and we're going to turn that into a decimal, which is 2.8. That's where these 2.8s came from, down here. So that equals 2.8. So now I'm looking for these to see which of them will eventually be multiplied by each of them individually. And the answer is A, because when I distribute the 2.8, it's being multiplied by each one individually. Number 12. Megan will be serving 20 people at a barbecue. She plans to make 3 hamburgers for each person because apparently everyone is hungry at Megan's barbecue. She spends $21 at the store on meat, which sells for $1.75 per pound. If Megan wants to make all the burgers the same size, what will be the size in pounds of each burger? So there's really 2 things I need to find out. I need to find out, first, how many burgers does she intend on making? That's pretty easy. All I need to do is take the 20 people times the 3 burgers per person and get 60 burgers. Next, I need to find out how much meat she actually has to make the burgers. Well, that's going to deal with the next 2 numbers. So I'm going to divide $21 by $1.75 per pound. And I'll find out she has 12 pounds of meat. The last thing I need to do is divide to find the answer. And if I need to find out how much for every 1 burger, I need my burgers to be on the bottom. So I'm going to do my 12 pounds divided by my 60 burgers to get 0.2 pounds per burger. If you did it the other way around and did 60 divided by 12, you would get 5. And hopefully you can look and say that's not a reasonable answer. First off, a 5-pound burger is absolutely massive. And secondly, you can't make 60 5-pound burgers with only 12 pounds of meat. So if you do that, I understand why you would do that, but hopefully you'll look and say, maybe I need to flip that and see what happens. Moving on to number 13. At the grocery store, Jess spent $24.75 for 3 pounds of chicken and 3 pounds of cheese. The cheese costs $4.50 per pound. What is the cost of the chicken per pound? Again, let's start with the total, which is $24.75. Naturally, if we go to the grocery store, we just add up everything we bought, and that's our bill. So we have to add up our 3 pounds of chicken times however much it is per pound. We don't know, so maybe we'll use C for chicken. And then we'll add in the 3 pounds of cheese at $4.50 per pound. Here, as we saw for C, the first thing we need to do is combine these like terms by multiplying. So 3 times 4.50 is 13.5. So I have 3C plus 13.5 equals 24.75. Next, I'm going to subtract the 13.5 from both sides. Whoops. These cancel. I'm left with 3C equals 11.25. We'll divide both sides by 3. And we'll find that C equals 3.75. During the summer, Tracy works as a painter. She charges $100 for paint supplies and $20 for each hour H she works. I'm going to circle that so I don't use X. Write an expression. That means there's no equal sign. Expressions don't have equal signs. That represents the total amount that Tracy charges. I'll move it up just a little bit. There we go. Well, if she charges $100, that means whenever she gets commissioned to paint, she's charging $100 no matter what. That's happening. But she also is going to get paid $20 every time she works a new hour, H. This is one that you just need to walk through step by step by step. The square of a number, n. So the number we're dealing with is n, but we need to square it. so that's to the second power, is equal to, equals, the difference. The difference means subtract. So the difference of that number and 8. So that number, again, was n, and the difference of that and 8 is n minus 8, d. Number 16 has a bunch of extra information that we don't need. Jordan shops at 2 stores for a new sweater. The sweater at the first store costs $8 less than 2 times the cost C of the sweater at the second store. The sweater at the first store costs $60. We could figure out the equation if we need to, but it tells us it if we just keep reading. The equation below can be used to determine the cost of the sweater at the second store. 2C minus 8 equals 60. Solve the equation to find the cost of the sweater at the second store. So again, I like to set up my line. I'll add 8 to both sides. So these cancel, and I'm left with 2C equals 68. Divide both sides by 2. C equals 34. $34. Almost finished. Number 17. Jared bought X boxes of pencils. Each box holds 20 pencils. So if I want to figure out how many pencils he got, because eventually it is going to ask me the total number of pencils he took to school, I need to do 20 times X, or 20X. But it says he left 2 boxes of pencils at home. So I'm going to subtract out the 2. And it's really tempting to choose C right here, but that's not right. The reason is because this term right here represents how many pencils Jared has. But this term right here is how many boxes he left. So if I want to know the total number of pencils, I need to do pencils minus however many pencils. So I'm going to keep my 20x, but how many pencils are in 2 boxes? Well, if each box holds 20 pencils, that's 40 pencils he left at home. D is the best answer. 18. Mary spent $15 for a tube of paint and 8 brushes. It's really easy to read this as $15 for a tube of paint. But look at the next sentence. The tube of paint costs $3. So we're going to write an equation, equal sign, that can be used to find B, the cost of the brush, of each brush. So my total amount is $15 because that's the paint and the brushes together. The paint itself was $3, and there were 8 brushes at some price per brush. Part B, solve the equation. All right, I'm going to rewrite it. 3 plus 8b equals 15. My dotted line. We'll subtract 3 from both sides. We're left with 8b equals 12. Divide both sides by 8. B equals 12 divided by 8. On our calculator we get 1.5. However, that is not a sufficient answer. We need a couple things. First is we need a label. So it's the cost of the brush, so it's dollars. The other problem is this is not how money looks. We don't represent money like this. We don't say, oh, I have $1.5. We need to put the full amount to the nearest cent, so it's $1.50. Number 19. This month, Josh worked 4 hours less than double the number of hours H he worked last month. So the number of hours he worked last month is H. So if he works double that, the way I double things is by multiplying it by 2. So H times 2 is 2H. What is 4 less than 2H? Well, whatever 2H minus 4 is. A. Jen starts a savings account with $20. Each month she deposits $10 more into her account. She now has saved $80, which equation, equal sign, can be used to determine how many months Jen has deposited money into her savings account. Well, the total amount is going to be 80. Just like earlier, if I'm unsure, I can just look and say, hey, they're all going to equal 80. Well, what do I start with? I start with $20. Then I'm going to add something every month. And every month I'm going to add $10 times however many months. And I know we want to multiply by 12 here because there's 12 months in a year. But it doesn't say she just keeps it in for a year. She keeps it in for M months. We don't know how long she needs to keep it in. Now, there are a lot of tricky things going on down here. So we need to find the one that matches. I see right away I can get rid of A because the M should be attached to the 10, but here the M is attached to the 20. So I'm getting rid of A. Now notice I am not going to cross out the whole thing because what if I did something wrong and I need to go back? I'm just going to cross out the letter. B at least looks good at a glance. C, the 20 is attached to the M again. I don't like that. So B and D look really different, so I need to find the differences. So I see 10M, 10M, plus, times. Okay, there's my difference. I'm adding, and I'm adding. I should not be multiplying. Let's get rid of D. Now let's go through and make sure. So I have a 20 and a 20, a plus and a plus. 10M, 10M equals 80. B works. Two more problems. Shane wants to buy a television in an electronics store. All the televisions are 1/4 of the original price P. So I'm going to do 1/4 of always means times, shouldn't say always, often. It's going to be 1/4 times the original price. Well, what is the original price? P. He has a $20 discount coupon that he'll use during the sale. Well, it'll be $20 off. C makes sense. Now, I had several students in class ask how A or B could be used. And here, notice you're going to take the price minus 20. So, for example, that could be something like he has a discount coupon that is only good for the full sale. So they would take the coupon off first, and then it's going to be 1/4 of that or 3/4 of that. So here it's just the order. Remember, order of operations tells us here we're doing the parentheses first. So the $20 is taken off the full price, and then you multiply it by the 1/4. Here, it's going to be 1/4 the price, and then another $20 discount. 22 is nasty. There's no doubt about it. But we got this straight from the PSSA packet that the state of Pennsylvania puts out as a scoring sampler. So I do apologize, that's gross. Now we did change it, the name, and we made it say Red Lion, but it says Lee is designing a sandbox for Red Lion's new park. His scale drawing is shown below. Not all the dimensions are labeled. So first thing I said is we don't use question marks anymore, we use a variable, so I'm changing that to X. And I should keep my label, that's X inches. In the scale drawing, 1 inch equals 3 feet. So if I want to find out what everything is in feet, I would just multiply it by 3. So 4 times 3 gives me 12 feet. The 4 inches times 3 gives me 12 feet here. The 8 inches times 3 gives me 24 feet. I just multiplied everything by 3. But if I need to find everything, then I should probably change this from inches to feet too. So I need to do times 3. X times 3 is 3x feet. Now, it gives us an equation here, and the way they got it is they multiplied the 12 times the 3x to get 36x, and the 288 is over here. They did 12 times 24. That's not really important. They give us the equation. Let's solve. So we're going to subtract 288. get 36x equals 180. Oh, let me move it up, sorry. Divide both sides by 36. X equals 5. So here we have an answer of 5, and I know we want to mark that down, but the key is whether it's asking for the scale or the real sandbox. So the scale sandbox is actually going to be 5. But if we wanted to find what the real thing would be, the x, it's x here. If we want to find in feet, we have to multiply by 3. So if they want the scale, it's 5. Otherwise, 15.